I'm David Hill, and I'm doing this interview with a fantastic group of students. I guess my parents, ironically, they would do drawings as a little kid, and then I think that's how we make artists. Is that I guess I've always liked praise and always liked to think that I did something good. So for the first time I can remember, they always, everybody always praises kids' artwork, and they would praise my artwork, and all the way. And I, like I said, I didn't take any art classes in high school, so I just started drawing, and everybody told me they were pretty good and that I was an artist. And then, but they also told me I was a scientist. And so when I started college, I had, I liked physics. I liked the way things worked. And I think, I feel like I was always an artist. I would go in and teach some of her, teach art to her classes. She'd just have me come in. And I taught my own kids. I would go into their classroom whenever they were coming through school. And one thing that I always found really interesting, when I'd go into a first or second grade or kindergarten classroom and I'd try to show them something real, I liked always showing them about making lines and not just doing scribbles. It would not just because I think we mess kids up by handing them a coloring book or markers. I'd like to destroy all markers because markers don't are not pressure sensitive, and you need to have pressure sensitive tools in order to create interesting lines. And if you look at my work, I press hard, I press soft, I smear, and you need that in order to do that. But anyway, so I'd go into a classroom and do an art class, and I would ask them during the class or after the class, I'd say, so how many of you are artists? And I would get almost 100% of the kids raising their hands when they're first graders. By the time that same kids got to be eighth graders, I'd ask, how many of you are artists? And I'd get just a handful, two or three.
What are your earliest memories of making something with your hands?
I don't know if there was a time when I didn't. My dad was a machinist and had a pretty extensive wood shop. So I used to make stuff out of wood, and he taught me to use a table saw and stuff really when I was really young. And then um, when I was in high school, I didn't take any art classes, but I drew from Mad Magazine. That's that's when I remember kind of really trying to do art. They would have surfer wagons and surfboards and waves and all kinds of stuff, and I used to copy the pictures out of it. And is that I think answers that question, other than doing little kid, drawings.
What do you believe art is meant to do for the world?
Art says, look at this. All art says, look at this. Pay attention to this. I see this. You should see it also. And it isn't just seeing, it extends to hearing, it extends to theater. It's pointing out the world to other people, which means that in order to do that and in order to be art, you have to um, you have to have an audience, you know. So if you're a musician and you don't have an audience, yes, you can still do it, but it's not the same thing. If you're an artist and nobody wants to see your work, it, it, it starts to become a point to where there's no reason to do it if there's not somebody to see it. So I think that's what art does. I don't think it has to say this is ugly, this is war, this is, how awful war is. I think you can simply say this is beautiful, and you pass by it every day. And there was a show. I did that one piece of sculpture for the show at the Nevada City Hall. It was called Hidden in Plain Sight. And I think that's kind of what art is, to point out those things that are hidden in plain sight. I taught a class called Everyone Can Draw, and I'll never forget when one of my students, a mom, whatever, retired, I don't know, she came to me and said, I hate you because I no longer can drive down the freeway and not pay attention to what I see on the side of the road. And so my mind is always seeing things, and that's what I think art is. Photographs too. I drive down the road and see something that I want to take a picture of, so I pull off to the side of the road, and drives Karen crazy that I drive, off the road and then get out to take a picture.
What's the most beautiful scene you've ever drawn or painted? Where was it?
Two maybe, and we're talking about outside. Um, Crater Lake. Crater Lake, the blue of Crater Lake is the most incredible blue there is, I think. And the other one is the red of sequoia trees in the sunlight on a it was a meadow, and there were flowers growing in the meadow, and I'm drawing sequoia trees in the background, and um, those are the two. You know, it's hard to draw scenic scenes, like the Grand Canyon or something like that. Okay, so yeah, that would be it. And the problem the problem I have with art right now is because it is drawing beauty for me, and so when I try to do those things, I feel like I feel like I don't have success. It's so even drawing people. I see the beauty and I can't get it. I can't get it right. So I think that's the bane of being an artist, the frustration of not not doing what you expect. Others very often will say, "No, that's great. It's fantastic." But, yourself, it's hard because you have great expectations, and um, it's particularly hard when I draw beautiful people. It's frustrating because I see it and I can't get it.